Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
What do the people of South Africans want to hear? One, they don't want to hear that you don't know these criminals and you are saying the reports are not coming to the police stations. That is dishonest. By the way, you're the only people who don't know these criminals that are extorting communities. Only the police in South Africa are claiming ignorance. Our people know. And the reason the police are claiming ignorance is because the police are embedded. It's because correctional services is embedded. There are people who come from prison who are convicted of murder, who are transported outside, commit heinous violent crimes, murder and assassinations, come back into prisons. When you're looking for them and you're reporting them, police say those people have been arrested already. What is your strategy regarding these activities? You do not have. So what did you come here to Parliament to do? PRMT exercise. This government of National Ntonton is not going to succeed if it is obsessed with media. You've got to have a comprehensive, concrete strategy that is based on the lived experience of our people to combat crime. Don't come here for a PR stance. You don't have a strategy yet, and it's katsakosiape. What must be done? Go and implant counterintelligence capabilities. We know these gangs, our people will tell you. 2, build internal state capacity. Let us do away with tenders. Tenders have crippled the local state. Many of those workers, let's insource them. Let the government build schools directly, build clinics directly. It will halve the crime of extortion in our country. The HODs in Ekurhuleni, in Tshwane, in Johannesburg withhold payments of contractors. Some of them are crippling black businesses. They must get bribed or they don't get paid. Arrest these administrators. Let us see you raid the administration to disarticulate it from extortion. Finally, please use digital and AI technologies. Implant cops with crime and GPS so that you know where the cops are, who they are talking with, who they are seeing at all material times.
Your time is now
speak about the
expired.
crime strategy, not a PR exercise you came here to perform.
Colonialism and the history of the colonial wars of dispossession of the people of South Africa. They wanted to create a system of separateness, to live only as whites, as it were. That is the ideological basis for apartheid, not the law. The law historically came after. So what were the people, what were the activists of the 1960s? What were they armed with? They were armed with the conviction of political societies that must be organized on the principles of justice, freedom, and equality. Justice, freedom, and equality. That is what must convince us. That is the basis upon which we should move and react to the call that the Palestinians have made to us. Not an international law. The laws of the world have never liberated anyone. Where was the United Nations when the Rwandan people experienced the genocide? Where was the United Nations? It wasn't there. I've come to make the same call, comrades, that the history of this country, the peoples of this country know very well. And that is, your governments are not going to listen to a law. Your companies are not going to listen to laws. Your companies are going to listen to you. I've come to make the same argument that the power is with the people. That we have to stop debating. We have to stop fascinating, looking for the facts and confirming them in some discourse of legality. Apartheid is there, a political ideology that wants to create a community of separateness on the base at the expense of the Palestinian people. It is there. That's what the people of this country, that's the only thing, that's all you had to tell them. That's all you had to tell them in those days. A community that was not built, a political community that was not built in the interest of justice, freedom, and equality. What boycotts and divestment and sanctions gives us an opportunity is to break this silence, is to break this dangerous discourse, okay, that wants to appeal to the United Nations, that wants to appeal, Margaret Thatcher and Reagan stood to the end, okay, they resisted to the end. But it is the ordinary people, you and I, who took to the streets, who held our universities accountable in the name of freedom, justice.
The final point, I'm shocked, the DA man here, is old enough. He's old enough to have grown under apartheid. Apartheid was a government of parastatals, my brother. The Afrikaner population in the 1930s accounted for less than 7% of the GDP. They were so niggerized. They were the poorest whites in the world. They were an embarrassment to the white supremacist culture. Apartheid took over. You must study your history. Through parastatals, through state-owned entities. Forget Venezuela, it's your only lazy intellectual example. Let's talk apartheid that uplifted white people in this country. They were uplifted through parastatals, Transnet, Sasol, ISCO, you name them. That when you saw that you are about to lose power, you then privatized them. But forget Venezuela for a while. Let's do, don't be anti-academic like Herman. We are very proud of our degrees. We got them working very hard. What is the world economic history? What is the world economic history? After World War II, Europe's public infrastructure was devastated. How did you rebuild Europe? State parastatals. China is the fastest growing economy in the world today and the largest economy in the world today. Same as Vietnam, those are communist countries.
Okay.
Have the decency for intellectual honesty. Neoliberalism doesn't work. You are governing Tshwane. There is no employment in Tshwane. Water has collapsed. Services have collapsed because majority of the population there maybe is black. I don't know.
Thank you
You
very
are a
much,
failure as the DA.
Zandi.
Never be shaken by the negativity. Never be shaken by the ill-informed, ignorant people who are taking platform to say all types of things. Never be shaken. Never be shaken by opportunists, hypocrites who want to educate us about our own history and the leadership that stabilized this country into a politically peaceful environment. We are here to memorialize a man of peace. We are here to memorialize a person that built peace. And peace is not the language of cowards. Peace is not the language of opportunists. Don't be listening to people who want to tell us about collaborators. We're not scared of them. We know the true collaborators who are still collaborating to this day to deny our people the land, to deny our people banks, to deny our people economic freedom in our lifetime. Never be shaken by those talks. We know because they just collaborated few years ago by killing the workers of Marikana, choosing the owners of Lone Min Mine over the workers, black workers that were fighting for a living wage. Do not be shaken. Ushenge was a man of peace. Was a man of peace.
White supremacy has reached its highest form in that it no longer needs a law in order to survive. The very cultural, symbolic capitalist mode of doing production and redistribution allows them to live out their racist attitudes without saying them. So they are able to deny you a loan, they are able to deny you access to a school without saying you are black, without saying because you are black, but using other mechanisms. You don't qualify, you're not yet good, go and maybe try, this type of course before you come. Are you educated? I mean, the painfulness of education in South Africa is that we are led by a lot of illiterate whites, a lot of dropouts. And when a white person has dropped out from school, it's natural. They become rich. We clap hands, mawe. We celebrate. But how many black people who drop out of school don't even get anywhere close to a bank to get a loan, anywhere close, or be even entertained by investors? They will need another white person if they've got a real, genuine, product that white people want to exploit. They will need a white supervision in order to be included in the social capitalist forms of living.
Before we go any further, I would like to call on all men in our country to join in a self-negation war against toxic masculinity and patriarchy. By masculinity, I mean how we perform our manner of being men to women. The women who gave birth to us, who grew us up, women we claim to love, women who work with and for us, and all the young women out there, young girls out there. We men must fight against the violent way of being men to these women. We must call each other out and never protect abusers in our midst. Women's bodies are not made for us. We have no entitlement to them, even if we pay lobola or mavuso. A woman's no means no. Each man must confront the culture of rape, and it starts with confronting yourself, facing the darkness in us that is perpetuated by the widespread and sometimes celebrated impression that women's bodies are mere tools of sexual satisfaction and making babies. This is the foundational attitude for a widespread culture of violence against women. It must stop. And each man tonight must say, it stops with me. To all the ladies out there, remember at all times, love without justice is evil.
These people who are killing our sisters are cowards. Only a coward beats a woman. Only a coward kills a woman. Only a coward rapes a woman. It must be said in no equivocal terms. These are cowards. They are not men. They are not fathers. They are not uncles, but they are cowards. Moso wetu mama kiluna linele confronted the Boers who were carrying guns fighting for apartheid. Fighting for the freedom of the very sons who are violating you today. You can fight this struggle. You can confront this enemy. But COVID-19 is an invisible enemy. But femicide, the boys and the men that are killing us are not invisible. You can fight this struggle. Women of South Africa, you have to come together. You can confront this. You are the ones that fought apartheid. Majority of the time, men were in prison. Men were in exile. You are the ones who took to the streets with Mama Winnie Mandela, with your bravery. Like you ended apartheid, you can end this femicide. You don't need anyone's authority to confront the system. It starts with this police station in Meadowlands, in Rodiport. When they are missing even for an hour, it's enough. They don't have to be missing for 48 hours before we are worried. How many of them must die before you realize that 48 hours is nothing? Mama is right. In a country where women are an enemy to men, we no longer have to wait for 48 hours or for 24 hours for a case to qualify as a missing person. Once we get the report, like you come here to tell us to do social distancing, with the soldiers and find these perpetrators of so evil.
Now, if you want to appreciate what that number means,
In Palestine, where the apartheid state of Israel is throwing bombs, is using military equipment to end life, there are about 35,000 people that are dead. Military war. 35,000. There is no military bombs here, but 27,000 people die of murder. They are killed. We have the second highest murder rate in the world. I don't know, Minister, why you are still a minister. Crime has defeated you. It has defeated you. I intimated to you in the last funeral, let us admit what we are having here in South Africa is not a crime, it's a war. You get killed for stepping on a person's toes. You get killed for looking at another man's girlfriend. We don't care for each other's lives. This is not crime. That's why it will defeat you. No amount of police are going to solve the problem of a war. But who is the enemy in this war? Why are we at war? It's not about investigation. Everything, the system of criminal investigation is broken. Maponisa atsiba uri nyaupe ya moso shakufu irekiswa kai habailati. Maponisa amodi payrolling tadi drug dealer. Ours is a broken society. I'm not saying that all the cops are finished.